friends, Queen of Flannel here. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome to a completed pages and some whips video. This is going to be for February and March. I know I've mentioned this like a billion times, but I don't always have enough completed, I feel like, to do a completed pages video every month. So they've been kind of, when I feel like I have enough to share with you guys. And so it's not a whole lot, but I do have some pages that I have managed to get done over the past 2 months that I am really proud of. And I also have a couple personal projects that I'll show at the end. So these aren't grouped by month. I don't have the books ordered by month. But I do have them separated out by finished and whips. So let me go ahead and shift these out, and we will start with Mythographic Fairy Wonderland. I actually have 2 images completed in this book. I think one of them I finished the very beginning of February. And both of them we worked on live streams, and then I worked on a couple, both of them off camera as well. So the first one, and this is up on my Instagram, is the pomegranate page. I feel like this is the first page that I have seen a lot of people go for in this book. It's gorgeous. The artwork. This was the first page that I saw that I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to get that book. So this is actually the first page that I completed in this book, and it was done completely with the Faber-Castell Polychromos. And I actually did the background in pencil, which I very rarely ever do. And it looks like most of it has probably rubbed off onto the other page over here. I'm gonna need to either get some acetate or start fixing some of these, because a lot of my pencil, it looks like, has rubbed off onto the other page, which I haven't really had that issue before, but for whatever reason, this one has rubbed off on the other page, and it's made the image look kind of like unfinished. But I can't remember exactly how long this took me, but for using polychromos, it really wasn't that long. I'd say maybe over the span of like a week or two, 8 to 10 hours here or there. But I'm really proud of this one. I tried to keep a limited color palette, so a lot of, like the greens, I used one or two of the greens in the grapes, also in the leaves, and then added in a new color to make it stand out as its own element, and then brought it down into her dress. And then I think I may have also used some of the leaf coloring, possibly in the background. And so it was a little hard to figure out how to do this centerpiece right here, because it looks like she's, at first I thought maybe she was kind of like part of the pomegranate, because her dress right here does look like it's part of the fruit, but then over here it also looks like she's sitting inside of it. So I had to make some creative choices about the depth on this one, but I'm really happy with the way it came out. And I also got out my Spectrum Noir sparkle pens and used that on some of the little mushrooms and some of the grapes, but I think most of it probably wore off onto the page over here. So and then this was the other page that I finished in this book, and I think there's a couple live streams where I worked on this. I know there's at least one, but again, I was trying to keep a limited color palette, and bring in new colors like one at a time as I worked through the image. So some of the pinks that I used on the lanterns, I also used in the background to kind of tie it together, and then I added in some darker colors, um, into the lanterns to again set them apart. I was a little worried with the leaves the leaves in the grass, that they were going to, blend completely into the grasshoppers, and that there wouldn't be any like separation between them. But once I kind of got into it, I was able to, just bring in some darker colors down here so he didn't completely blend in. But I had a lot of fun with this one. And then I went in with a paint marker, and I added in, there was bubbles in here, and I ended up coloring over a pretty substantial portion of them. So I added them back in with the paint marker, and then the little like dots, little like stars, I just added those in. I thought it gave it a little bit more interest. Not quite sure I like the outline on the moon back here. Again, I used a paint marker. I think it was one of my, was it the Ohuhu? I think it was the Ohuhu acrylic markers I used on this one. And I knew I didn't want the black line there, but I also didn't want to use the white, which maybe I should have. So I went with the blue paint marker, and it pops a little bit more than I would have originally liked. But either way, I am really happy with how this one also turned out. It was a lot of fun to do. Again, all polychromos. Apparently, I'm favoring the polychromos in the Mythographic books. I used to just really like shy away from using them in these books. And somewhere along the line, I guess I've kind of figured out a style with them. And again, I did the background with the polychromos, which is kind of, unheard of for me. And the lanterns, I know I did on a live stream, and people had questions about, how I got the glow around my lanterns. So that kind of spawned a little bit of a side tutorial. So there is actually a video of lanterns from one of Rita Berman's books. I did just one of the small elements, the pages that have like multiple little images on them. Yeah, so that's my Mythographic Fairy Wonderland. Next, this is a recent one. This one is definitely from the end of March. We did this as a live stream, and this is a Korean coloring book, Omurice Jamjam, and this book, I guess, was created from a webtoon series. So there's a lot of like comics. Ooh, that is incredibly bright. Comic people and little scenes and things like that from the webtoon. And there's a live stream. We did the whole image that I'm about to show you guys live. But I love coloring food, and I find it really difficult to find books with the type of food illustrations that I want to color. And I happened across this book just by chance. It popped up in my Etsy feed, and from someone that was actually that had it, that was in the US. So I got it, pretty quickly, and the shipping was not astronomical. So I was very excited to get this book. And apparently there is a second one that is based on like travel food that is on my radar. But again, shipping is a bit much, and I have to prioritize my purchases. So, but I thought this book was adorable, and I definitely want to do more in it. So the image that we worked on was this one, and this was done completely in watercolor. It was I have my own palettes that are curated from Tube Watercolor, and I have one that's all like my favorite, most commonly used Daniel Smith paints, and so this is all Daniel Smith watercolor. And I was a little bummed that the paper didn't take the watercolor like I had kind of thought that it would. So I hit a point where I kind of just leaned into it, and rather than just continue to play with the watercolor and push it around and risk ruining the paper, I went with a really blocky, imperfect, illustrative watercolor style. And you can definitely see there's patches and things like that, and but overall, like, I had a lot of fun with it. It was nice to just relax and just let go. And I haven't really watercolored in quite some time, so pulling the palettes back out and playing around with those was really fun to get back into that and just to chill, and like there's like white space and just patchy, like I'm sure probably looking at this, there are some people who are like, oh my God, that's ugh, but I really like it and I had fun with it. So I think that's, the most important part in this, this journey. And it was fun mixing colors, and I, got to get back into some of that. So this was another page that was completed in March. Yeah, this was my second to last live stream that we did. So that is the Omurice Jamjam coloring book. Definitely going to be working more in this one. So next, we have a lot of Mythographic over February and March. So next we have Mythographic Menagerie. And this was the image that was chosen by the community. We did a community color along this month. And so I put up a poll over on the community tab with 3 different images for everybody to vote on, and this was the image that was chosen. It was the jackalopes, and so we did Mytho March was our hashtag for it, and a few people shared their images with me. Ryan from Chromatically Chill is working on. I know he's working on this image. And when we kind of started doing these community colors, Ryan started with the beta fish from Kirby Roseanne's, which I'll show you guys in a minute. So he did community color in February, and then I did one in March, and he's doing one in April. And I'm not sure if I'm going to host if I'm going to do one in May. It kind of depends on what other projects I come up with. I have some bigger things that I'm working on that might end up coming into play, but we'll see. We'll see how things go. But anyways, so this was the image that was chosen by the community, and as we were planning it, one of my lovely subscribers sent me a couple items off of my Amazon wish list, and one of them was this set of Kuretake Ganzi Tambi watercolors. It was, I think it's like a 12 color set. And as soon as I saw it, I knew that it would be the perfect color scheme for this image. So this was all done in watercolor, no pencil shading, nothing like that. There's a 2-part video on the channel, and I decided ultimately in the end not to do a background on it. I felt like there was a lot going on with it, and I didn't want to take away from that. And this paper's not the greatest for watercolor. As long as you're careful, though, like it works. And I really like the way these came out. Now, the color on my jackalopes was a little scary at first, because I did not swatch the paints out before I started painting. I just went with it. I do that actually pretty frequently, and I think it scares some people. You know, if you feel like you need to swatch your supplies, absolutely. I'm not saying that I never swatch my supplies, but there are times where I just don't want to, you know. And so with this one, I just really wanted to play with the paints and see what I could do and what paints could do. And they came out a bit purple, but I do like the tie-in with the flowers. I think it works. So yeah, I was really happy with the way these came out, and it was fun. I had a good time with it. There's two videos. Yeah, this was a two-parter. So there's 2 videos for this up on the channel, and a playlist if you want to check those out and watch the process. But that was our community color page for March. And next we have Color Universe. This is one of Kirby's compilation books, and so this was Ryan's community's choice for February. And they picked the betta fish. And so Ryan wanted to work on getting more comfortable with water-based media, so he chose to use the Inktense, and I followed suit. So everything on the fish is completely done in Inktense. I was working off of a reference photo, and I believe I did this whole page with 4, maybe 5 pencils, but I kept it really simple, and I wanted to try and work on combining different colors of the Inktense to get new colors. So there's not really any like peach or skin tones in the Inktense set, and so I've mixed skin tones with watercolor, and I wanted to see if I could do it with the Inktense. So I started off with this peach color right here. It was Pink Flamingo, which was one of the new 28 colors that recently came out, and then Sicilian Yellow. And I loved the way it came out, so when I got over to the people, I carried that combination over. I laid the pencils down dry and then activated them with a water blender. And when I did the skin over here, I used my lightest blue, which I can't remember off the top of my head what blue it was. But there's a live and a video of this on the channel, and so then I used the blue to kind of tone down just a little bit, and I was really pleased with the way it turned out. And then the side here around the fish and up here, this is watered down acrylic paint, and I just went in and painted around it. So there were a lot of like tiny little fish like these all along the side here. And originally I had used my peach combo to activate them. And then I couldn't figure out how I wanted to do the background on this, because I had so much blue already in the fish. I felt like if I did that for the background, that it was going to be too much. And so I just hit a point where I was like, well, you know what? Let's try this. So watered down some acrylic paint and painted that over here. And unfortunately, the little fish got sacrificed to the acrylic paint gods. And then I felt like it needed a little something to bring it back. So I just grabbed an acrylic paint marker and went in and added some bubbles and some tiny little bubbles and whatnot. And I really like the way it came out. It was I won't say a simple project, because it did take a little bit of coordination and planning as far as where I wanted each color and how I was going to use my limited color palette to get different tonal values. So using the blender marker to pull some of the color out and water it down, and then in certain areas going in and just really like pressing and putting a lot of pigment on the paper. So it did take some time and some work to figure out how I wanted that to look, but in the end I was really satisfied with how it turned out. And then actually I'm trying to remember if I may have actually used, I think I did pull in some colored pencil, a gray colored pencil, because it happened to be on my desk. I'm pretty sure I did the shark in the dolphins with either a polychromos or an Artex pencil. I'm fairly certain they're colored pencil. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think I didn't want to pull out any more Inktense pencils, so I just kind of grabbed what was on my desk for another project. Yeah, so that's my betta fish for Ryan's color along. And now we're getting into the WIPs. So this one. This one's actually almost done. This is Mythographic Magical Earth. And this we started at the beginning of March as a single element tutorial series. And so basically I did a video outlining how I would color each element on the page. So we did the flowers, and then we did the giant rock face guy here, and then we did the water, and then we did the grass, the leaves, the lily pad, and the water lily over here. And this was all done with polychromos except for the background. And then I was working on recording a video of the violinist and the background, and my camera cut out in the middle of the recording, and I didn't notice until after I had already finished coloring her. So obviously, since there's only one of her, I can't go back. I couldn't go back and re-record it. And so there was, kind of one of those moments where I was like, oh, well, what do I do now? So I went ahead and colored the background. This is one Neocolor 2 with a water brush. It was turquoise. And then over on the community tab, I kind of did a written out outline of my color combos and a little bit of kind of my thought process. So unfortunately there is not a video for the violinist in the background on this one, which was a bummer. Obviously because I lost the footage, but then it was kind of a, well, what do I do for well, what do I do for Saturday's video now? So that worked out in the end, but still, it's just one of those, like, when the tech stuff happens, just kind of, it is what it is. And then eventually I will go in and I've been working on trying to finish up these flowers and whatnot, and then it'll go over on the Instagram when I am done with it. So still a work in progress. There's a playlist for this on the channel that you can check out to watch the most of this page. So, but yeah, so that's my Mythographic Magical Earth WIP. The next one, this is a long time WIP, but since we worked on it on, not that one, but since we worked on it for a WIP live stream, I had started this one forever ago, I think even before I left for my deployment, and it's polychromos, and I'm still not sure what I want to do with the background on this one, but basically for the live, I went in with the combo that I had used for this, and really just added more layers to the frog, and I colored his eye, and then I worked on the trees, because that was... up until that point, I had a few layers of the frog and basically what's done on the house. But I hadn't started working on any of the trees or anything like that yet. So I am hoping in the near future that I can take this off the Forever WIP list and add it to the completed pages. But I really like how he turned out. Just need to figure out what to do with the background. So, okay, so that's the last book WIP. And then I will show you guys these. So I picked up a pack of 3 of these Square Etcher Labs sketchbooks. I really like their sketchbooks. I have a bigger one, I think that's cold press, and these are hot press, because I have been trying to work with gouache and also on my own illustrations and art and drawing and whatnot. So this was, and I still have some more to do on here, because obviously I have some white space to fill. So this was the Hemi gouache, and it had a little mishap up there. I think I can probably go over that with we'll find some little berries maybe to fill that space in. So this is the only page that I have done in this sketchbook, but my plan for this one is to fill it with nothing but gouache illustrations of food. I'm kind of on a themed sketchbook thing. And this is hot press, if I didn't mention that already. This is the Etcher Labs, the hot press watercolor. And so this was really just me, but this was really the first time that I have sat down and legitimately tried to understand and figure out how to use gouache and how I want to use gouache. And this is definitely going to be something that I continue to play with and work on going forward. And I would like to be able to start bringing other art and my own things to the channel on top of the coloring, whether it be to a video or to a live, or I'm not quite sure how I want to do that. Or I know that there have been some community members that have mentioned, that yes, they would be interested in seeing things like that, but it's always tough when you want to kind of break out of what you've been doing and introduce something new. There is, that trepidation of, is anybody going to watch? Even when people say, yeah, we'll watch. So, I had a lot of fun with this. It was just, me playing around and just trying to get comfortable with consistencies and shading, and no real like expectations, just feeling the paint. So there's this one. And then this one, so this is going to be another themed sketchbook, another gouache themed sketchbook. And I shared this one on, I think I shared it on my Instagram stories. But kind of my plan for this one is to do this as a scene study. And so Supernatural is one of my favorite TV shows. And so my thought process is that I am going to do this entire sketchbook as a scene study for Supernatural. And I'm going to start from season 1 and end with season 15, and I will go through and I will pick either my a favorite like scene of mine, or a scene that I think was really important to the series, or was funny, or that I think I can paint well, and try and recreate it in gouache. So there's only one in here so far. I have been trying to figure out what I want to do for my next scene, and then I have plans for the cover and for the inside here and for the in the back. But I figure it'll end up being probably 3-ish scenes from each season. So this is from the pilot, and it's when they're standing on the bridge, and the ghost that they're hunting has taken over Dean's car. And so this was definitely challenging, trying to, figure out how to shade the faces, because it is it's a nighttime scene, so the background is relatively dark, but obviously because it's a TV show, they have studio like lighting on the actors so you can see them. But there was still like a lot of shadow on Sam's face, and you can't really see a whole lot of like the definition of his eyes. So that was definitely challenging, and just trying to get the expressions. And I was trying out some new brushes, and just learning how to layer. And I was actually really pleased with the way Dean's jacket turned out in the end. So originally I based the jacket with a really dark blue. The jacket is actually brown. It's his brown leather jacket. So I went back after it had dried and went over the blue with kind of glazed over it with a brown. It still looks pretty blue, but that was what was given to me in the screenshot that I used as my reference. But either way, I was really happy with how the detail and the shadowing on the jacket turned out in the end. I had to make some adjustments, so there actually in the screenshot is more space on the other side of Sam, in a big like pillar behind him, but it's not really like integral to the plot, so I kind of like condensed it and did my own thing. And I had a little trouble here with my distance between the two characters, but again, this was, I just wanted to, I don't want to say that I don't have goals for progressing through this sketchbook. Like, I want to learn to be more intentional with my choices in terms of like my colors and things like that, but I don't want it to feel like a burden. I want this to be something fun, and to just maybe pick one thing per scene that I want to try and work on. And And this won't be something that I share every single scene, going forward. I anticipate this is going to take me a while. I may record a couple pages, and then at the end do a sketchbook tour. But some of this I also want to keep for myself, and not record it. We've talked about this quite a bit in live streams, both mine and others, that especially when you're creating content for YouTube or Twitch or whatever, and especially if it's art, that it's still important to create for yourself without a camera in your face or a camera on your art. And that's something that I want to to maintain, to keep doing those things for myself as well, and then show you guys the after of it. But yeah, so a couple things that I'm working on that aren't specifically coloring related, but yeah, that is it for my February and March. Oh, that is, we're gonna move those. We're gonna put a book back here that's not going to set the camera off. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was nice to be able to jump on and share what I've been working on with you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider sub. Helps YouTube's algorithm find my videos and share them with more people. So with that being said, thank you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one.